Yeah. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't feel like it until I was young. And by then, it was really right.
Don't you know I'm about to?
Nothing to me but
Don't you know
blind.
I'm about to?
Nothing to me but blind. Rise, rise, rise.
Shouldn't come as a surprise. I'm about to.
Rise,
Don't you know we got this?
rise, rise.
Yeah, I started rapping.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to MoodTube Radio. This is episode 2 ever of MoodTube Radio, so I appreciate you joining me. First off, that was a little taste of Rise by Will C. and Rick Nick, Grilled Cheese Music. I chose it for a variety of reasons to start us off today, mainly because right now the Mets are about to rise. I guess some would say they can't go anywhere else but up, but that's not how I see it. This Mets team, they're too talented. They're too resilient. They've shown too much persistence all season long. They're not going to go down quietly. We got Noah Syndergaard taking the mound in Game 3. You might know him a little bit better by Thor. Quite frankly, he's not going to take it. Sure, the Royals won 2 games in their home stadium, but now they're coming to Citi Field, and the 7-line army is going to be there. I'm going to be in the building. We're going to be bringing the thunder, and Thor, Syndergaard, is going to be dropping the hammer of Thor and quite literally bringing the thunder with the fastest fastball in baseball. I'm pretty confident that the Mets are about to turn this around. There's a number of reasons why. First off, I'm just eternally optimistic. I don't think I'm capable of being pessimistic, so I have no choice but to believe that the Mets are going to turn this around, and I think they're going to. Just a little historical perspective for you all. The Mets in 1986, they were going against the Red Sox. First 2 games were at home. They lost Game 1 by 1-0. Ron Darling started that game. And then in Game 2, Dwight Gooden took the mound, and the Mets lost 9-3. So they lost by 6 runs. For those of you keeping track at home, the Mets lost Game 1 by 1 run. And they lost Game 2 last night by 6 runs. I know some people are going to say, like, oh, that's just a ridiculous stat, or what they should be saying is it's an absurd anecdote. But as a Mets fan, I was born in 1990. I have had no choice but to hold on to the historical teams in 1969 when they lost Game 1 of the World Series and went on to win the next 4 straight. And in 86, I've heard about it so much from my father. I've read about it so many times. I've seen so many documentaries on it. It's at the point where I believe that I'm there. And as my dad has been saying to me, basically all season long since the day they traded for Cespedes, is welcome to the 80s. And quite frankly, I'm still treating it like we are in the 80s. They went down, so they're down 2 games to nothing right now. I'm pretty confident they're going to come back. Whether they're gonna have to, what they have to do is Syndergaard has to come out. He's got to throw a great game in Game 1, and then we got to wake the bats up. But I'm sure they're going to. I think they're going to get going. The Mets are a very, very streaky team, and quite frankly, they got through the playoffs for the most part on the back of one batter. Daniel Murphy is just the hottest batter in the game, and I don't know. I've been saying all season long that if the Mets are going to win this World Series, it's going to be because Lucas Duda got hot at the right time. I said it after Game 4, after he finally turned it on in the NLCS in Game 4. And I'm still saying it now. Last night, the Mets were only able to muster 2 hits against Johnny Cueto. But, you know, who got those 2 hits? Lucas Duda. So it's a day off, travel home, rest up a little bit. And then Thor's taking the mound in Game 3. Quite frankly, he's going to drop that hammer. He's going to bring the lightning. He's going to bring the thunder. And the Mets are going to turn this thing around. All it takes is 1 win, just like in 1986 in Game 6. All it took was 1 hit. All you needed was 1 hit. All the Mets need right now is 1 win, and it's a whole new series. With Thor taking them out in Game 3, as I've said probably about 50 times so far during this podcast, I think they're going to get that win. So just to introduce myself to those of you who may or may not know me, my name is Paul Malamud, a.k.a. Moody, a.k.a. Mood, a.k.a. about a million different other nicknames. So whatever you want to call me, that's fine with me. I am the AFC East Division Coordinator and Jets Team Manager for ProFootballSpot.com. For those of you not familiar with ProFootballSpot.com, we're a very up-and-coming website. We cover all 32 NFL teams. Very talented staff for all the NFL teams. We got a great fantasy staff. We've got a great draft staff, and we're also covering college football for the first time this year, starting with the SEC and branch out from there. So basically, Pro Football Spot has got basically all the information for your every football need, which, quite frankly, is good for me because my slogan for myself is I got the sports for every mood. So Pro Football Spot, we got this. We got everything for your football need, and at Moody Sports with MoodTube Radio, I got the sports for your every mood. So make sure to check out ProFootballSpot.com. Any kind of NFL, college, fantasy draft information that you want to know. I'm going to get to talking about the World Series again in a little bit, but I got to talk about, as I said, I'm a Jets team manager, as well as being a Mets fan. I'm a diehard Jets fan, so I got to talk about them a little bit. Last week in the first ever episode, I was joined by Tim Lagarde, who's a diehard Patriots fan, living up in Boston. Right now he's in Southie. And we talked about the Jets-Pats. We hammered it out. The conclusion we came to is that it was going to be a very, very good game. And at the end, I asked him to give his prediction for the game, and I gave my prediction for the game. And what do you know? He pretty much nailed it right on. So I got to tip my cap to you, Tim. It was a great job. The Jets outplayed the Patriots for pretty much, with the exception of the scoreboard, the Jets outplayed the Patriots the entire game. They're the better team on the field. Obviously, the only thing that matters is the scoreboard. So that's why the Patriots got the win, and they're in sole possession of first place, and the Jets are in sole possession of second place right now. But there's a lot of great things that I can take from that. Now, I don't want to make any excuses because the Patriots were very banged up going into the game. But if Calvin Pryor and Buster Skrine don't get injured, I don't think Tom Brady has that incredible fourth quarter that he had, because quite frankly, it would have been Calvin Pryor covering Gronk when he made his plays, and it would have been Buster Skrine covering Amendola when he made his plays. So I don't know. I think if they don't get injured, the Jets win that game. But that's football. That's sports. Injuries happen. The Patriots, the reason why the Patriots have won 4 Super Bowls since Tom Brady took over for Drew Bledsoe. There's a reason why it's so difficult to go into Gillette Stadium and beat them. It's because they're a darn good football team. It's what I've been saying ever since the game was over. They're a great football team. I may despise them on a personal level, but you can't help but respect what they've been doing. Now, I'm not exactly sure about this. I'm pretty sure that I was told earlier today, I think the Patriots have won 41 consecutive home games against the AFC. I mean, that's just flat out absurd. It's ridiculous. So going by that token, if the AFC wants to prevent the Patriots from making it to the Super Bowl again, somebody's got to beat them. Somebody's got to take away home field advantage from them. Luckily, the Jets and the Patriots get to play again. Week 16, I'll be there. It's going to be at MetLife Stadium. So I'm looking forward to that game. There's a whole lot of football to be played between then. There's no telling where this Jets team is going to be record-wise and the playoff standings-wise. Same thing with the Patriots. I know Patriots fans are operating under the assumption that they're going to go undefeated this year, which quite frankly is ridiculous because up until against the Jets, they haven't really been tested once the entire season. Sure, they played the Steelers in week 1, but that was a Steelers team without Le'Veon Bell. And the Patriots are never going to lose that game. They were raising the banner. Brady had just been reinstated after the whole Deflategate thing. The Patriots are never going to lose that game. So the Jets were their first test, and now the Patriots are about to get a second test tonight when the Miami Dolphins on Thursday Night Football go back into Foxborough. I mean, it's hard for me to predict that the Dolphins are going to win just because, I mean, it's the Patriots. But I'm going to tell you something. If I were a Patriots fan, I would be very, very scared and concerned about this team. The Dolphins are not a team that you should be overlooking. They underwhelmed and underperformed horribly to start the season, which is why Joe Philbin got fired 4 weeks into the season. But since he got fired, and they've been playing the last 2 games, they've had two blowout wins. Sure, they have been against the best competition, but they're starting to fire on all cylinders. And I think I like it. I think they got a good chance against the Patriots tonight. So we'll see. Time will tell. I'm not going to be watching because I got a pretty great night going for myself tonight. I'm going to see Grateful Dead and Company featuring John Mayer tonight at the Times Union Center in Albany. It's going to be one hell of a show. And then tomorrow I wake up and it's driving back down to the city to take on the Kansas City Royals in Game 3 of the World Series. It's going to be 2 great back-to-back nights for your boy Moody. Contra's going to start off on a great foot. And then tomorrow, Thor and Metz and Cespedes and Duda and Captain America and Murph and Grandy Man and Darno, don't you know? I got a feeling that they're going to get the Mets back on the right track. As I said earlier in the podcast, in Game 1 of 86, the Mets lost 1-0. They lost by 1 run. In Game 2 in 86, they lost by 6 runs. So far, this series is consistent exactly with what they did in that series. So if that series continues to be any indication, the Mets are going to come out and blow the Royals out in Game 3. Now, I think that's going to be the case. Mets fans have been starving and dying and just waiting for to be able to watch their team play a home World Series game. I mean, we've seen them play 2 World Series games, but more specifically, the last World Series game that was played in Queens was Game 5, and it's something that I will never, ever be able to remove and watch the image from my brain of Jorge Posada scoring the game, the go-ahead run. It ended up being the winning run for the Yankees, and the Yankees defeated the Mets in 5 games. Quite frankly, it ruined my childhood for a while, and as you can probably guess, I'm not over it. But what I'm getting to with that is, Mets fans, we've been dying. We have been dying for a chance to come out and cheer our team on and try and urge them to winning a World Series victory. And Mets fans are going to be crazy. We're going to be a wild, rabid bunch. If people have been impressed by Kansas City fans, they've been great. They've been making noise. They've been cheering. They've been standing all game long. Just wait and see what it's like at Citi Field on Friday night, and then Saturday night Halloween, and then following up Sunday, Game 5, day after Halloween. It's going to be crazy. The 7-line army, they're going to be going wild. I'm going to be out in left field. Hopefully I'm going to catch a dinger from Captain America or Cespedes. So, as we all know, Yo does know baseball. I think Cespedes is going to get things going in Game 3. I think the Mets as a team, their offense is finally going to wake up. All it's going to take is for somebody to make a big hit. They just need one big hit, and once that happens, I think the floodgates are going to open. I think the Mets are going to win by real big margin in Game 3. Moving forward, I've been saying all season long that this team, they're a team of destiny. For about the past probably like 4 or 5 years, I've been saying, just wait till 2015. Wait till 2015. I've been saying it because I saw with Harvey in the wings, and I knew that DeGrom was coming up, and Syndergaard, and Wheeler, and then Matz. And then, it was Montero. He was supposed to be part of it, but now he's fallen back. He's not one of it. But the Mets, I knew that pitching, sooner or later, pitching does win. That's how you win the World Series. That's how you win in October, is pitching. And nobody has a better pitching staff than the Mets. Sure, Johnny Cueto came out and threw a great game last night. A great complete game, giving up 1 run, only 2 hits. But he didn't have that untouchable stuff. And after him, the Royals rotation, it gets pretty iffy. Whereas for the Mets, we all know it doesn't. We got Syndergaard coming in game 3. After him, it's the local boy, Steven Matz. How great of a story is that? He comes up to the big leagues, gets promoted his first, I think he went 4 for 4 in his debut. Just had an incredible start, and now all of a sudden he's a local boy, born and raised on Long Island. He's got a sandwich named after him at his local deli out on Long Island. He's going to be pitching Game 4 at Citi Field for the Mets. That's just one storyline of this 2015 Mets team that just shows that this team, what they've done this year, it's truly greater than sports. And as I said, I refuse to believe that this team is going to lose. The Royals, they're a very good team. We knew that coming in. They're a very consistent team, but they're also the kind of team, you know what you're going to get from them. There's no way around it. In order to make it to the World Series in back-to-back years, you have to be a very talented team, and that's what they are. What they've done the past 2 years is it's been astounding being able to get to back-to-back World Series. But I think for the second year in a row, they're going to end up falling up short. And I know it seems crazy, Mets being down 0-2, 2-0. And I'm sure if by some chance the Mets aren't able to pull it out, this is going to end up coming back to bite me in the butt. But I'm still confident the Mets are taking this thing down. I don't know if it's going to be 6 or 7, but the Mets they're going to come back, and it's going to all start with Game 3. So I don't know how much more I can say about the Mets. So I'm going to move on. I'm going to start talking about my Jets a little bit. Back to the Jets, I should say. It was a tough loss to the Patriots, but sometimes you just can't win on the road. Now they're traveling across country for another difficult game against the Raiders. Going into the season, most people were saying that the Raiders, or a lot of people were trying to tell me that the Raiders were not going to be a good team. And I was like, no, they are a good team with their offense. I mean, the AC/DC, Derek Carr, Amari Cooper, and then my boy Latavius Murray. I mean, as they proved last week against San Diego, they've got a very high-powered offense, and this isn't their year. I don't think this is the year they're going to make the playoffs or whatnot. But they're a difficult team, and the Mets, they can't afford to overlook this game, and I don't think they're going to. Todd Bowles is going to have their heads on straight, and as everybody knows, it's very difficult. Jets fans, especially know. It's very difficult to travel west and go play in Oakland across the East Coast for a number of reasons, but I think the Jets are going to be able to pull it out. It's going to come down to – it's unfortunate that the Jets have so many injuries right now. I mean, Nick Mangold, what I'm starting to hear is not a long-term injury. He's going to probably end up being a game-time decision, but when it all comes down to it, I think he's going to play. Unfortunately, I don't think Calvin Pryor is going to play, which is going to be pretty difficult. So Dion Bailey – he played great against the Dolphins when he came in to spell Pryor over in London, but that game was not in doubt. Then last Sunday against the Patriots, he got exposed. So he's going to have to step his game up big time this week. Luckily, the Raiders don't have close to as good of a tight end as the Patriots do. So it should be a little bit easier for him this week, but still he's going to have to step up his game big time. Bilal Powell, I don't think he's gonna be playing. He's a third down back. Chris Ivory, he's going to be playing, but he's slow. He's going to be slowed by his leg injury, and that's something that he's going to have to be dealing with for the next couple of weeks. So, I mean, that's difficult because he's had been the best running back in the NFL up until he tweaked his leg in his first carry against the Patriots on Sunday, but. Luckily for the Jets, they've got Stephen Ridley, who was activated off the PUP list last week, and now I think there's probably a very good chance that he's going to be active. He's going to be active on Sunday, and could end up being huge for the Jets. They need to find a way to keep Ivory fresh throughout the month of November, so that by the time we get to December, Ivory can get back to his ways, just pounding that rock. Because let me tell you something: if you thought that people were having difficult time tackling Chris Ivory in September and then the start of October, just wait until you see people trying to tackle him when it's cold outside in December. And knock on my head, knock on any kind of wood I can find. There we go, a little bit right there. Hopefully January. So right now, I think the Jets defense, I think they're going to be able to do a good job of bottling up Latavius Murray. Amari Cooper, he's going to be one of the best receivers in the league. As of now, statistically wise, he is one of the best receivers in the league right now. I saw this earlier somewhere. He's the first rookie since Coach Ditka, or then he was Iron Mike Ditka, to have 300-yard games at this point at 6 games into his career. So, I mean, he's an incredible talent, but unfortunately for him and for the Raiders, he's going to be going across Darrelle Revis, Revis Island. I think Cooper's going to get lost on Revis Island. So I have a personal policy. I don't play – for my fantasy teams, I don't play anybody who's going against the Jets that week, which is difficult for me because basically all of my teams I have at least Amari Cooper or Latavius Murray, or in some cases both. So I'm sitting them both, but I think that I'm not just sitting them both because I'm some ludicrous Jets fan. I'm sitting them both because I think it's going to be a quiet game for the two of them. I'm sure Cooper's going to make a play here or play there, but he's not going to be putting up the big numbers that he has been so far this season. And Latavius Murray, he's a very talented running back. He's very promising. I like him a lot. That's why I used him as a keeper in one of my fantasy leagues going into this season. I kept him over as opposed to keeping Jarvis Landry because I thought that this was going to be the year he finally puts it together. And he had 2 rough patches, but he finally got things going back on the right track last week against the Chargers. But the Chargers have a horrible run defense, whereas the Jets have the best run defense in the NFL. So, I mean, I'm very confident that the Jets are going to be able to get it done. It's like I said, it's always difficult going traveling across the country to go play into Oakland. The Jets have it seems like every single year the Jets and the Raiders are playing. It's going to be interesting with Derek Carr facing the team he played in his first career start last year. The Jets got the win in one of their first home game. It was one of the only 2 home games they won that year. The other one was against the Steelers. I think the Jets are going to get the W. I'm going to throw out a little prediction here. I think that they are going to win. I'll say earlier I was talking with my friend Pete Stanich, who's a Raiders fan, and I told him I think 10 points. I said I thought the Jets would win by 10 points. I think it's going to actually end up being a little bit bigger than that. I'm going to say the Jets win 24-10. So that's my prediction for this week. I got the Jets winning 24-10. That's going to be it for this episode. I've got a number of things I got to get going to. Make sure to stay tuned. I'll be putting up a Moody's. I'm a big fantasy guy. I've been playing DraftKings and FanDuel my entire life. So each week I do a Moody's, Steals, and Fine Wines where I tell you the players at each DraftKings position that you should use as like your steal, like the cheap players. And then I'll give you the fine wines for every position because you got to use the steals, the bargain players, the bargain prices, the bargain bottles of wine. So that every once in a while, and you got a nice occasion, and you really want to impress somebody, you step it up and you buy that fine wine. So that's how you do. That's how I play my DraftKings and my daily football fantasy teams. I fill my roster up with some steals, and then I also throw in a Fort Knox steal of the week because if you wanna break the bank. If you want to win that tax bracket changing amount of money on DraftKings and FanDuel, you got to break into Fort Knox. So check out Moody's week 8 is Moody's week 8 DFS steals and fine wines on ProFootballSpot.com. You can find me on Twitter at TheRealMoody82, on Instagram at Moody Sports, on Facebook at Paul Malamud, Google Plus at Paul Malamud, and on Snapchat you can find me at PMoody82. I've been doing stories for every single Mets playoff game. That's going to keep on going. I'm telling you, with me being in the building for Game 3, you're going to want to be watching that. So stay tuned. Check me out on Facebook. I said that's where you can find all of my weekly every article I write, I post there. So follow me on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, follow me on Snapchat. Shameless plugs right there, but you got to do what you got to do. So this has been episode 2 of MoodTube Radio, brought to you by ProFootballSpot.com, as well as Greater Than Sports. They've got some phenomenal clothing, sports clothing. You should check them out. Jake Arrieta is rocking one of their hats, so you know they're legit. So check out GreaterThanSports.com for some great apparel. And for all of your football needs, go to ProFootballSpot.com. For MoodTube Radio, it's your boy Paul Malamud, aka Moody, signing off. Thanks for joining. I'll talk to you next week.